This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello. This is Fake the Nation, where we talk about news. We talk about politics and where we just make things up. I am your host, Negin Farsad, and yeah, they're saying that Fake the Nation is like the #1 podcast in all of history. And the #2 is George Washington. He had a sports pod. So that's just what they're saying. And I don't know who makes up these lists, but I mean, that's what they're saying. Fake the Nation, #1. And that is, of course, a reference to the random shit that Trump made up during his State of the Union last night, which we will talk about, as well as the new executive order making anglais la langue officielle des États-Unis. We'll also talk about white jeans. Should men wear them? And of course, there's an anti-aging dog treatment, but is it really going to make your dogs hotter? I think is the question that's on all our minds. Folks, today's panel, what an exciting panel. Joining us, you've heard him on this show before. He's a beloved stand-up comedian and author. He just wrote on the Oscars, so he was very much glamour adjacent, but on the joke side, which is just a really weird, narrow world of people that do that. And he is one of them. He also has his first stand-up special out there. It's called Comfort Beyond God's Foresight. You can catch it on YouTube. It is the one and only Ian Karmel. Hey, Ian.
Hello. Very nice to be here. Even more narrow area of expertise. On the Oscars this year, I was mostly writing presenter banter. which was crazy because I wrote on the Golden Globes and that was all just jokes. You know, I've written on the Grammys, the Tonys, all that, and just jokes. And then on this one, they brought me in to write the things that specifically June Squibb and Scarlett Johansson say to each other.
The June Squibb ScarJo was my favorite joke of the night.
That was me.
That was Ian.
That was
my
me.
God.
So the way it works when you're writing for the presenter banter for the Oscars is, you get various combinations of actors, and then you kind of send in a couple jokey ones and then a couple straight up ones, knowing that they're most likely going to go with the straight up ones. So I sent that one in for June Squibb and Scarlett Johansson, and they actually went with it, and it's maybe the happiest I've been in my entire career.
Oh my God, that's so cool. And of course, and I'm also I'm a bigger fan of theirs now, knowing that they had options of boringer ones and they went with the funnier one.
Yes.
That's cool.
It was very cool. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to share any because I want to do it again next year.
Oh my God, was June Squibb topless?
She was topless the whole time.
The whole time. Okay, so let us move on to our other panelist. You guys, I have known this guy for a really long time.
Oh yeah,
the nerd bond what we have is that we're both TED fellows.
There's a very famous photo of us doing oxygen together. It's a very TED thing, just at an oxygen bar at a TED conference.
There was a time when everyone was going to oxygen bars.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about that. Oh my God, we lived through and then moved beyond the oxygen bar trend. That's
how we're sucking all the oxygen out of the room.
Exactly. He is an artist. He is a professor at NYU. He's also the public artist in residence for the city of New York. And folks who listen to me talk about fucking New York City all the time on this show know that I think that's so fucking cool. And you should look at his Instagram because he did this art installation in Times Square last spring, and it was one of the most incredible things I've seen. So go to his thing. What is your thing?
My thing, Midnight Moment?
No.
My Instagram.
Your Instagram.
It's Gaby BC.
Gaby BC. Yeah. Go to Gaby BC because you were gonna. It's a super treat. It is the one and only Gaby BC.
Hello.
Thank you for do you tell people your full name? Or
my name is Gabriel Barcia-Colombo, but nobody can say it.
So you always say
go
BC. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I am the reason that Trump is so mad about public agencies giving money to artists.
Yes,
I'm the one taking all the money. I'm causing all the problems.
You're sucking all of the money out of that should be going to really important stuff like renaming golf.
Exactly. Yes. Instead, it's going to me and my, effort to increase art in America.
What you and June Squibb, notorious dicks. Okay. Also, Gabe, totally topless today.
Well, thank you for having me on during these dark times. This is great. I'm very excited.
No, before we get into the show, I just want to remind listeners that they can go to, they could still go to gumball.fm/fakethenation to fill out the survey that helps us figure out what kind of ads we should be bringing and make the entire Fake the Nation experience just more delightful, more delectable, more other D words. So go to go to gumball.fm/fakethenation. And of course, you can support the show by going to patreon.com/Negin Farsad. We really let our hair down on the bonus episodes that you get with a Patreon subscription. It's just the loose, the parents aren't watching. Like, that's when we go nuts. And so go to patreon.com/Negin Farsad to subscribe for as little as $4 a month. You get bonuses of the show, more of the show that you love so much. And thank you so much to everyone who supports. Now let's get into it with topic number 1. We're going to talk about culture. There's an issue that has reared its head in the national discourse, and I can't believe it's taken so long for it to really come to the fore. But here's my question for the two of you. Can men wear white jeans? Or rather, can men wear white jeans?
White jeans.
Yes.
Oh,
What is your? There's two strapping men right here to answer this question.
I mean, I feel like white jeans are for horny people. For some reason. Like, you know, like I feel like I'm not horny enough ever to wear white jeans, just as a thing.
It's an incredibly horny pant.
Right?
It's maybe the horniest pant.
So like French people, right? They can wear white jeans. That's what this article's about.
Because a horn doggedness is just a base level for every French man.
I don't know. I think like people that go to Jimmy Buffett shows, like they can wear white jeans too. You know, it's just like there's a certain type of people that can like pull it off.
But you're like equating like a hot French, like a hot sophisticated French man with like someone who goes to a Jimmy Buffett concert.
Yes, the common theme is horniness, you know, amongst us both people. And I just can't. I mean, I also have like a little bit of junk really in my trunk, so I can't pull off the white jeans too. You know, I've got some ass, so for me it's a little too much.
Yeah, white jeans.
Where are you at with your ass?
I mean, there's junk in the trunk for sure. Yeah, there's a little bit of a shape to it.
No, I'm surprised no one has mentioned yet that it's literally white, so you have to worry about it being clean. Is that something that comes up? Cleanliness.
This is my big issue with why I'm grateful. If anyone's saying that men can't wear anything white, I'm going to take it as gospel because I am too gravy adjacent to wear anything white in my everyday life.
You're just always spilling it.
I also have a 3-month-old son now, so like anything that could stain anything, like I want to stay away from it. So I'm fine with that. I do think some men should be able to wear white jeans. Like if you're anything like Tom Petty, you should be afforded a white jean credential.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I mean, what quality of Tom Petty are we pulling out here to award white jeanedness?
I think like very skinny, sort of scarecrow-esque.
Gotcha.
Something about Floridians. I'm with Gabe on that. There's something very Floridian about the white jean.
Rock stars, horny people.
Oh my God. Okay, but I think what we're saying here now, because when I'm in France, I'm not like, oh, these people are like Floridian. They're horny Floridian types. You know, they're people named Pierre and Jacques, and like I want to make out with them. Like that's how I feel. Like if I see a white jean on a man that's pulling it up, and I want to say again. Listeners will know this about me. I lived in Paris for some time. It's not, you may have heard me in the introduction just bust out some French. There's some flawless French. I don't know if you guys heard that. And when I lived in France, I feel like one thing that's been true for very many years is that Frenchmen are just, they're very skinny generally. I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm going to say 90% of Frenchmen are very skinny. Those are the numbers. By the way, taking a page out of Trump's book, just make up your numbers and then go forth publicly. But like they pull it off. Apparently it's also big in Italy, Italian. Now, my question for the two of you is khakis. Now I thought this might be a moment, now that this is part of the public discourse, where we could dethrone khakis and put white jeans in their place. Where do you guys land on where khakis are?
I think khakis are terrible in my opinion.
Right, like Tom Petty's not wearing khakis.
Exactly. Khakis are for like golfing and for, shooting at the gun range. And, but I think
shooting at the gun range? Who's wearing khakis at the gun range?
A lot of dudes.
Yeah, utilitarian in many different ways.
A lot of concealed carry bros are wearing khakis. And
that's where they're putting all their guns in the khaki pants, right?
It's a company branded polo shirt and it's khakis and then like a concealed carry handgun.
I feel like you're confusing khakis with like a car dealership. You're confusing a gun range with a car dealership is what I'm about to say. Because like that's where I'm feeling more the khaki vibe. Like having been to a gun range one time.
Is that in Paris?
It was à Paris. J'étais dans le. I don't even know what the word is for gun in French. Le pistol. I was in Georgia. I was in Columbus,
the Paris
Georgia.
of
Thank
America,
you.
yes.
As everyone recognizes it. And I didn't see a single pair of khakis, I'll say that much. Did I see cargo pants? Yes, I did. Did I see those like army, what are those like
fatigues?
Army fatigues, stuff you get from the surplus stores. Like I saw a lot of that. Like aspirational. I don't think they were even necessarily army people. In fact, they probably weren't because army people have their own gun range that they get to go to. Oh, so they're not going to go with the disgusting civilians like me.
They're not slumming it.
Who are mostly at a gun range to look at what pants people are wearing. Like, that's what I was doing
and
there.
At these private gun ranges, nothing but khakis. That's what's going on.
All right, let's move on. Really quickly, I want to ask you guys about do you know this guy, Ian? People in LA know each other, right?
Yeah.
There's a barber in LA. Does he cut your hair? He has added matchmaker to his roster of activities. I mean, I guess his second activity after cutting hair is matchmaking. He started basically his point is I'm like a therapist to these dudes. They come in and the thing that I hear over and over is I can't get a girl. How do you get a girl? Whatever. So or a guy, all of the things. And so he started taking photos of his clients and posting them on social media and being like, hey, check out Brad. Like he loves, making pizza or whatever. Like, do you want to join him? And so he's gotten like some numbers, a big following now. People have started to date off of his little service. Do you think that this is what kind of relationship do you guys have with your barbers? Again, I've got two strapping men here. This is, tailored for you guys.
I mean, I met my barber on Halloween I go to the same barber for 10 years.
Okay.
And I met him on Halloween and he was wearing an S&M outfit and a ball gag when I met him. and there's a famous photo of us with him cutting my hair in this S&M outfit. And it's like... So maybe you would hook me up with like...
By the way, you do theme photos only. You do oxygen bar
tanks,
photos with, and then
S&M outfits with my hairdresser.
As long as there's something in somebody's mouth, you're into it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So where are you? Is he your therapist?
No, but I think therapists should hook people up more than barbers. Don't you, I think we should have like a therapist dating site. Don't you think? Like where they know your horrible problems. They're like, well, this person could indulge that for 3 to 4 months at least.
Here we go.
You're
Sideways.
both
Didn't see that
codependent.
coming.
This is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Ian, where are you at with your barber?
I don't have a barber. I just go in and it's like I'm a very much first available at the barbershop kind of guy.
Oh, this makes me sad. I feel like you need to have a regular barber.
No, I don't need I want as little of I don't want any conversation. I don't want any sort of relationship. Like I would rather have a slightly worse haircut than have to catch up with someone in my everyday life. Like just go ahead and butcher me. It can look however you want. I just want to go there, sit quietly, and then leave. And maybe I'm depriving myself of a sort of therapeutic barber relationship, but every time I go in there, I'm just like, I hope I also have an introvert. I'm not even an introvert. I just don't want to have a conversation with my barber. And I definitely don't want them posting my picture on Instagram.
Interesting, because my husband goes to a barber. He's been going to the same barber for years as well. It's like a elder Russian Jew who yells at the television. So I definitely think he's not a good candidate for setting people up because what are his tastes? What does he think this man would be? I mean, you know what I mean? None of that makes sense. But my husband does come home every day because the barber has New York One on, and for people outside of New York One is our local 24-hour news station. I think there's like versions of it now, like all over the country, anyways. But New York One was the proto one of those channels that Spectrum then propagated everywhere. But like, it's funny because people have like this, relationship with New York One where it's like, it's a very, very intense relationship.
Yeah, it's their gospel.
Exactly. I'm one of those people. And he will just like, a story will come up, congestion pricing, and he'll just start yelling at the television. And he'll like, literally the last time he came out and like showed his receipt to my husband of like that he had been charged for congestion pricing or something. And he was so fucking mad, and my husband wanted to like gently be like, I mean, but you could take like public transportation, you know what I mean? But like, he didn't get into it, but he was just like, but he sort of goes for he loves kind of the theatrics of this guy. So again, not a good matchmaker, but is he fun for just like coming home and telling your wife what the barber did that day? Yes.
Yeah. See, you know, on Uber, sometimes they have that, if you do like Uber Black, they have the option like how you want your conversation, what temperature you want the car.
Yeah.
If there was like a haircutting place that had those sliders, I would go there every single time. If I could hit a no conversation, have headphones in. They can have headphones in. They can listen to Fake the Nation while they're cutting my hair.
Would you want like a robot barber if you could get one?
I guess I would. See, I wouldn't go so far as a robot barber because as a comedy writer, I need to make a firm stand against AI in every
that's
form.
Right.
That's where I draw the line.
WGA prohibits you from going to a robot barber.
Maybe like a robot barber like controlled by humans somewhere else.
Okay,
so it's like puppeteer. There's no conversation.
Yeah.
Like renting out the space to a robot.
Yeah,
that's right. Like it's like the same technology they use for like colonoscopies or whatever,
yes.
where they like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm in for that.
That sounds great. Okay, folks, let me know, are you going to a robot barber, which is where this conversation went, or do you think your barber should set you up on dates? All right, let us move on. And actually, let's take a quick break so we can learn about our sponsors, and then when we come back, we'll continue. And we are back, and we're ready for topic number 2. Okay, so Trump basically did a reading of his new solo show last night called America as I See It Through My Orange Face. And it was, and if you view it in terms of like the grand fiction that it was, I would say it needed some tightening. Maybe Ian comes on and punches it up. You know what I mean? Maybe we cast June Squibb in the role, whatever.
Yeah.
But like it was, it was just really, there were so many lies, obviously. So, I mean, I guess just, we all know that. There was a lot of like fact checking that happened after that I'm sure nobody looked at, whatever. I guess, what were your first impressions? We can talk about some of the specifics.
I mean, it's season 2 of Trump, right? That's what it is. It's such a television show.
Yeah.
It's a whole new cast of characters, too. He got rid of everybody almost from the first cast.
Yeah, including his own children.
Yes, they're gone. Melania's sitting down now, not standing for any of the clapping. Mm-hmm. And like, it's, if you remember all the people from the first season, I should call it, like Scaramucci is gone. Like, it's completely replaced. We forgot all about that. It's a complete mind erasure. And now we're back to season 2.
And then, because also half of those people like ended up in prison or whatever.
Yeah, or they turned against them, which these guys are all going to do too eventually.
Yeah. Eventually, you can't. I mean, it's funny. There was a moment that I was trying to kind of figure out who's going to be the first to go when he said that stuff. And I want to talk about Greenland and Panama Canal, but he said after he was like talked about the Greenland Panama Canal thing, he then said, "Look, there's Marco Rubio. He's going to be the one that does all this stuff. Good luck," or whatever he said. And then Marco Rubio had to force
little Marco
had to force a laugh. And could you, I mean, again, I might be reading too much, but it looked like he was sweating. I mean, he has had to like swallow his own soul. He doesn't have one anymore. So to do that job. So Ian, what were your impressions?
He said, we'll know who to blame if it goes wrong. Like just literally laid it out like that, where he was like, this is exactly what's going to happen to you. Because it is going to go wrong because we don't own the Panama Canal anymore. I got to be honest. I did not watch it. I read the news about this stuff. Yeah. I give myself I go to the New York Times once a day. Yep. I read the news and then I sort of disengage from it for the rest of the day.
That's responsible.
just out of a sense of like mental health. I worked in late night for 8 years, including during the first Trump administration. And it was like every day, like a foie gras goose, like being force fed all the insane shit he did every single day. So this time around, I'm not late night anymore. And I'm giving myself the, stay informed, but you don't need to like every little morsel of it. So it's kind of what you were saying. It's the insane clown show theatrics of everything where I'm half relieved by how absurd it is and then half concerned by how absurd everything is, because then you go look at like fascism in Italy when it was on the rise, right? And they banned spaghetti, like they legit, when like fascism was on the rise in Italy, they banned spaghetti because they were like, it slows down Italian men being full of carbs and we need to eat rice instead. And then I'm like, oh, well, they did that. And then at the same time, they like did go full blown fascism, hanging people, like from columns in Rome kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh no, like, is the fascism of the Trump administration, is the absurdity of the Trump administration like something we should be relieved about? Or is it like yet another hallmark of, is the Greenland stuff, the Panama stuff, the annex in Canada, is it ridiculous, or is it like a cause for concern?
I mean, I was even surprised that because I felt like the Greenland and Panama stuff had sort of been swept under the rug the last few weeks. Like he said it in that first couple weeks, and then the Doge stuff has been happening, and so it felt like maybe they had kind of moved on, and then he revived it, and what's interesting to me is that every posture is a contradiction to another position. And so the posture of MAGA is supposed to be, we don't want to have any more interventionist policies. We don't want to be putting money into other things. But except for Greenland and Panama Canal, we want to get really embroiled and possibly have a war. Like, just those are the but like Ukraine, no. Yeah. But like, you know what I mean? But
that's all just to distract you from what's going on at home, right? That's the whole point. It's like if you're concerned with Greenland, then you're not concerned with him cutting taxes for
exactly. So do you think, Gabe, that that this Panama Greenland stuff has any legs, or is it just a meaningless garbage?
I don't think he's going to actually do it in the end.
Yeah,
it's my opinion. I think it's another thing where he's going to say this. It's like building the wall. Remember the wall? What happened to the wall? He doesn't even mention the wall anymore. But he's going to talk about it for a couple of years. Eventually, it'll fade away. In the meantime, he'll gut every part of the United States that needs to be gutted.
Right.
But I don't think he's going to get rid of spaghetti.
He'll start with public artist residence, public artists in residence.
Yes, the public artists in residence.
That's where you should have been a line item, because he went through like the list. What was that list of things
his
they
list
cut?
Of ridiculous things. Transgender mice was one of his things, which he meant transgenic mice, which is a research practice that's done. It's nothing to do with transgender people at all.
Wait, did he really mean transgenic mice?
He meant there's a program. I looked it up this morning for transgenic mice. There's nothing to do with gender for mice in this way. But it's,
God.
He read this list of like, what was the thing about someone being 300 years old that we're supporting?
Right. Oh, and this has been the biggest fact check of all the fact checks, was the Social Security list, because he went through a list of numbers of people and how old they are on the Social Security database. The problem is we don't have death records for everybody. So the way that the software was set up, they couldn't get it so that if you didn't have a death record, you wouldn't show up, because obviously there isn't a 300-year-old. So what they did was they just stopped payments at a certain age anyway, like if there isn't a record or something. So the amount of fraud that's in that category if someone is dead and they're still collecting is extremely low. It's like to the point, it's like negligibly low.
Yeah.
Because they already figured out like how to solve it. It's just those people still remain as listed in this database, but it's only because of the way the numbers were coded or something.
So he took like 10 minutes to describe different age groups of people that still receive money, but it was like so many people, like
exactly
went on for so long.
It went on for so long, and it's all just a lie. I mean, it's not something, we don't pay a 300-year-old, so it's not an issue at all.
I have to say though too, the Democrats though with their paddles. The Democrats showed up with
let's talk about the Democrats and their paddles. Tell me, Gabe, what do you feel?
And I was like, are we at like an auction, like a Sotheby's auction right now? Like, this is the best they could come up with, was these little like black paddles that said false and Elon sucks, and like It just felt like, who came up with this idea?
Ian, now would this have been 1, 2, or 3 of the banter that you would have written?
I think we would have hopefully trended more towards Al Green and less towards the
paddles.
People fanning themselves with their distaste. Yeah. They're showing up to like a gunfight with pillows, which is just so frustrating.
Well, literally with paddles.
With paddles, yeah. It's just frustrating over and over and over and over and over again.
Okay, I have to be honest. I thought seeing some of those signs when they cut to the audience shot and you would see one and the message, I thought it was good messaging. Yeah. And I think that there's only a couple of things you can do if you're a Democrat. You can fucking wave your cane and fucking get pushed out, which Al Green did for us. And I thought that was an interesting moment. It was what's really unfortunate when you forget about those live addresses is that the audience isn't mic'd. Trump is mic'd, Mm-hmm. And so I don't know that everyone in the viewing public could hear what he was saying. He was saying something I think was like, you didn't have a mandate to cut Medicaid. I think that was what he kept saying.
Yeah.
But that's not something that everybody could hear or know. So in that sense, it was ineffective. Now, could he have waved a cane and held a paddle simultaneously that said, don't cut Medicaid? Now we're talking,
right?
Yeah. But I do think like just the act of like that kind of defiance was meaningful. I mean, I felt that it was meaningful from a guy in that age group that's like, go fuck yourself, essentially.
Yeah.
That felt okay to me. I don't know what it felt like to you.
I think people are just really, really looking for like leadership in this moment, because I think like so many people are feeling so afraid and disgusted and at the same time sort of rudderless and being like, I hate this. I hate what's going on. I'm calling my Congress people. I'm calling my senators. I'm going to town hall meetings when I can. Like, but they're looking for some kind of other leadership in this moment where it's like, hey, I'm one of those people where it's like, tell me what to do. Tell me where to be, where to go, how to actually do something to like express how fed up I am with all of this. And I just think like, you're right. The paddles are like, it is good messaging. You do have like a limited palette as to what you can do in that moment. But I do think like some disruption and some backbone, is really, really nice to see, because, you look around and you're like, is this business as usual? Is this more just like sound and fury signifying nothing on the behalf of the Trump administration, or is something more going on here? And it's just really nice to see. And maybe it's good that we, have a party that can do both in the Democrats, where they can hold up paddles and message and get kicked out, the way Al Green did.
And then the other thing, the third prong of their little thing was for half of them to leave, or some number of them left in the middle at various points throughout the speech. Now I noticed some of that getting a little bit of attention, like the audience, the cameras would cut back and you would see people leaving. You're like, oh my God, are people leaving? So I felt a little, again, what else can they do, Gabe?
I just want more action. I think that's it. I think like maybe that's not the right venue for it, but I want to hear afterwards what we can do besides just resisting the lies.
So then did you see Elise Slotkin's rebuttal, and what did you think of her?
I thought it was great. And I saw Bernie did a whole rebuttal this morning too.
Okay, so
fantastic.
Well, let's talk about, I mean, not that I don't love Bernie, but he is like not the future of the party. So like, what did you think of Elise? She's a young woman, comparatively speaking. She won her district, or the state. She won in a statewide race that Kamala did not win. Mm-hmm. So people are split ticket voting for someone like her.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, I think like that does show a future for the Democratic Party. I want to know what the hope is for this party at this point.
Yeah.
And I feel like so much of it is about resisting Trump and talking about Trump and calling out his falsehoods, but I want to know what we're going to do in the next 5 years. That's what I'm interested in.
Elise Slotkin made the case. I mean, one of the things I thought was nice about her was just sort of like, I'm a regular person. He's coming after your Social Security. Mm-hmm. Don't be fooled. This is a tax cut for his billionaire friends. Don't be fooled. So that's a good, like, basic thing. And I also think maybe that's just like what we say over and over and over and over again for 2 full years is like, these are the only 2 things that he wants to do is come after yours. I think we need to like sort of narrow down the argument to like these big ticket items so that we can really drill it into everyone's head.
Yeah.
And she closed the speech by saying like, you know, there's 3 things you can do. And it was essentially kind of call your representatives, don't doom scroll, get engaged, like don't look away, stop looking away. And in the beginning, I think like in January, I was sort of sympathetic to people because I was like, I understand. You don't even want to fucking listen to the part of this podcast where we talk about politics.
Yeah.
You know?
People are tired, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, I was tired. Now I don't know. Do you guys still feel tired, or where are you feeling? Does Elise Lotkins like stop doom scrolling and actually get engaged, or stop looking away and actually get engaged? Did that mean anything to you, Ian?
The way I feel, I don't feel tired, but I do feel like a battery that isn't plugged into a remote. You know what I mean? It's a little bit, and I think that's how a lot of people do feel. Where it's like I'm not afraid and I'm not tired. I mean, I'm nervous, but like I don't really know what to do with it other than to call people. Every now and then there's like a protest here in LA, but I never hear about it, I guess, which is like a weird until I see it on the news. It would be it'd be nice to hear about it. Maybe I could be more engaged. Maybe that's a thing like I could try to do. But I think me, like so many Americans who feel the same way, I've got a baby, I've got 4 jobs, you know, I've got like all this stuff where I'm like, I would spend my free time like trying to do civil disobedience, you know, against this administration. I just I don't know how to find out about it. And I feel like maybe if it was coming from Adam Schiff on the news or something like that, maybe I would have a little more awareness of what to do. So, I don't know. I guess I said earlier I am looking away, but you know that's me reading the news like once a day, which I feel like is a normal and healthy amount to read it.
One thing that like a lot of people have been talking about is that the Democrats should just have like an everyday daily briefing.
Yeah,
and it's like a Chris Murphy or whoever, like a little. To me, you get a nice gaggle of Democrats who are good at talking, your AOCs, your Jasmine Crockett's, and you throw them in front of a camera every single day. It's sort of like the way we were handling the pandemic, where every day we tuned in, and a lot of people would tune into Andrew Cuomo.
I was going to say Cuomo did that, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Andrew Cuomo,
he's back.
At the time, he was a fantastic counter voice to the confusion that we were kind of getting out of the White House. And so everybody tuned in every day. And I wonder if there's something like that where we just tune in and, you know, you don't have to tune in every day, but if you want to, there it is. And it's all the information. It's all of the rebuttals, all of the to that day's atrocities, you know, and it's just hammering home the message from the Democratic Party every fucking day.
This is on camera, right? Get somebody up in front of like America every day and show them this. Show them this. Show them that the Republicans, the party of like financial freedom, are in power right now. And if you're 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 years old, your retirement money is being evaporated by a man who threatens tariffs and pulls them away for no economic good for like everyday Americans.
Yeah, but whimsically. And by the way, Ian is showing a graph of the Dow Jones taking a huge plunge.
This is the last 3 months of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the amount of time roughly, you know, like Trump's economic impact has been hitting. If you want to take it down to 1 month, it's pretty much, it looks even worse.
It just goes down. Exactly.
It is.
I also think
like
we have to find a way to talk to young people that don't have stocks, you know,
that too.
I mean, I teach a lot of Gen Z kids now, right? And they are so disillusioned with the political system in the United States. Like they have no interest in it. They don't want to engage with it at all. They're really like turned off because the presidents they've had in their lifetime have been mostly Donald Trump, you know? And so they don't think of it as an office that has this gravitas or that has real power to change their lives. And so how do you reach those folks, you know? And I don't know about a daily briefing from a political person.
Well, Well, and then those clips go on the thing, TikTok and whatever. I mean, I just mean we need a media response that is consistent and is like sort of everyday, and that has the ability to travel on different platforms.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of where I'm feeling from people who are good at talking. So there's like a handful of those people. We know who they are. Grab them, throw them in front of a camera. Let's, just so that there's something every day. Because right now I feel like it's like when Chris Murphy decides to do Meet the Press or something.
Yeah.
We're like, well, he's great, and it's like, but it can't be based on that one guy's schedule.
I think,
I mean, this doesn't feel exactly efficient.
With young people, speaking to that, I think it as much as anything else that we have a deficit of in this country, and especially with young men, is we have a meaning deficit. Like I feel so stupid. I'm a comedy writer saying this, but like people do not have meaning in their lives because they're seeing like can't buy a house. You know what I mean? You can't you're trapped under student loan debt. They don't have a job where they feel like they can excel. Like they don't feel like they're effectively doing anything in their communities or for their communities. God, my internet is dying right now.
But it's totally true. I see this all the time too. I ask my students every semester at the beginning of class, why do you want to take this art class? And it used to be, I'm interested in art. I want to do public art. It's a public art class. And now probably half the class says I want to be famous. And
did they really say that out loud? Like they'll say that in front of their peers.
Yes,
they'll say,
I want to be
serious.
Famous. They want to be famous, and because that's a way out. It's like this is one of the goals they have.
I would never say that.
I know, but it's like right now becoming famous seems almost just as likely as getting a house.
Yeah,
it's like they feel like equally realistic options. Where it's like, I can actually see a path to me popping on TikTok. I can't really see a path to me buying a 30-year mortgage. You know what I mean? And being able to afford a house. And if we offered some sort of concrete thing to young people where it's like, this is a path to meaning, this is a path to like home ownership, this is a path to like a job that actually, it's insane to go all the way back to, like Roosevelt and public works job programs and stuff like that. But, that did give a lot of people a sense of meaning. There were people who like, listen, I may not have had a college degree. I may not have had, like a bunch of money in the bank, but I helped build a dam that's still there. I helped build a road that's still there. I actually have something I can point to and be proud of in my life. And instead, we're letting AI creep into like some of the few remaining jobs that people have left.
Aspects of the Inflation Reduction Act were meant to be like the WPA, they're meant to be job creation. It's meant to be a job creation bill, right?
Yeah.
And so that's also threatened by Trump. So it's weird because he wants to take jobs away that can be created, and also like reduce the federal workforce, even though the federal workforce is a job creation avenue.
But if you take away everything else, then you can sell people white revenge. If you take away every other path to some sort of
solvency,
solvency to like a life where you get to barbecue with your friends and watch your kid run on the beach and like, you know what I mean? Like have your parents not have to work until they're 80. If you take every other path to that sort of happiness away, then what you have left is white revenge. And that's the thing that he has, silos full of that he can sell, that party can sell.
Getting back to the State of the Union address real quick, there was one moment that made me very angry because I was very moved. And it was the moment with the kid, the DJ, who was a cancer survivor, who wanted to be a cop when he grew up and all that stuff. And then they made him an honorary Secret Service agent or something. I felt like it was upsetting to me, because I feel like that family was being manipulated and used. But also it was still really lovely because of the just pure innocence of the kid and just like the pride of the dad. Oh my God. I'm tearing up. I'm tearing up.
It's good TV. I hate to say it, but it's good TV.
It
right?
was such good TV.
He knows how to pull your heartstrings.
And that fucking asshole does know how to pull our heartstrings.
I mean, he's very good at drawing emotion from people.
Yes.
That's his thing. Right?
And that stuff is lovely. I think those are moments that like, it's so stupid. As Americans, we can come together and really appreciate. Now, the counter to that is, what if that kid who died from measles in Texas wanted to be a cop when he grew up? You know what I mean? What about that?
God.
Now we're taking, but like.
My heart hurts.
It does hurt, but you can say those kind of things. Like, why does this kid's life matter more than these other kids' lives? Why are we
And the DJ segment segued right into RFK's face.
Yeah.
Which was felt so weird, because it's like this kid that is a cancer survivor. Now we're going to move right into RFK. Side note, what I'm not saying is I just halted the funding for pediatric cancer research through the NIH.
Yeah.
That's just like a thing, a sub post on this part of the speech, and then we have to look at RFK as like, right, as you say, someone a child in Texas just died of the measles. So the whole thing was very angry, and I was crying.
There's always entertainment at the casino. You know what I mean? That's what's going on here. There's always a Cirque du Soleil show at the casino, and that's what it is. He's turning the country into a casino, and he's going to bring you these sad stories and these stories that make you angry, and then but as long as you keep pulling the lever, he's happy with you.
We're running out of time, but I do want to talk about this one thing, which is that he signed an executive order making English the official language of the United States. This sort of takes so Bill Clinton had a requirement that government organizations that receive federal funding had to provide language assistance to non-English speakers. This sort of reverses that. But I will say it does not require agencies to operate solely in English. They can still provide documentations and services in other languages. So now that we know the a little bit more about the detail of that executive order, where do you fall on how serious this executive order is?
It's just more red meat for the dopes, right? I mean, like, that's just fully what it is. It's slopping out dog food into a bowl and saying, come eat it up. It's like a thing you can pour. Yeah,
it feels a little Gulf of America to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's already 30 states already actually have English as an official language, but they still provide services. Like California, they provide a lot of services in a gajillion other languages, right?
Yeah.
So it almost doesn't quite matter, but it's
also a dog whistle in a way, right?
Yes.
To people that are going to go run around insulting people on the street now, saying you got to speak English, it's America.
Right.
That's really what it is, I think.
Yeah, a little bit like, if you forgot for like 5 minutes that I was xenophobic, don't worry, I'm still xenophobic.
Right. Yeah.
It's just a nice little reminder, although we get it. Like, you made that point. You don't even need any more executive orders on that front. You fucking did a great job with that one point.
Right. We're not looking around like, wait a minute, is Donald Trump racist? What's going on?
Wait, I forgot. Hold on. Oh, good. He reminded me again. I get it now. Maybe we should have a spelling part of this though too, where people have to learn how to spell there and there and
yeah.
That's
a great idea.
I want to if you're gonna make it English, let's go all in and make sure everybody knows.
Okay, so you want NPR to run a spelling element of these citizenship tests that's just really annoying.
Yeah,
I mean, yes.
I want to see Tommy Tuberville go head to head with an Indian American kid who speaks 3 languages in a national, in the winner of the national spelling bee. And I want to see Senator Tommy Tuberville try to spell even a 3rd grade level word. I'd like to see that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I kept thinking about Usha Vance last night, because that's so interesting. I don't know who she is or anything about her, and she could be delightful, no idea. But how interesting to sit and just take this all in. It's a big, as a series of policies, take a dump on probably, I don't know, I think she's a birthright citizen like me. That's interesting, no?
Yeah, it is. Her parents are immigrants, yeah.
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 So, I don't know if she's just when you say you want to get rid of birthright citizenship, just quick, sweetie, pillow talk here. When you say you want to get rid of it, where would that, and would I? You know what I mean? It's just, wild to me to see all the characters in the audience. Even, by the way, RFK felt, I think, just like, again, I'm reading so much into these people's souls. I have no fucking idea. But like, it seemed like there was a part of his soul that's like, I do believe in not vaccinating people, but I do not like any of this.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think he's like got both of those sides of him.
Yeah, I mean, it might be just a byproduct of the culture we live in with media, right? Where you have to say these outlandish things to get attention,
right.
But then maybe you don't really believe a lot of what you say in the end, but you're stuck. You're defined by that version of yourself now.
Right. And I wonder if your students who want to be famous are like taking notes.
They are. They totally are. They see, Instagram has completely changed their minds of how to become famous, right? Just as an artist, especially. As an artist, like the more you put yourself out there as one brand,
right, you
become famous, right? And so these guys are all brands, but their brands are real weird.
Oh, their brands are so weird. Okay. Sadly, we're ran out of time to talk about anti-aging dog stuff. But
my poor dog.
Wait a minute, you're saying these dogs are trans? Is that what you're telling me?
We ran out of time to talk about all the trans dogs. All right, my friends, that is the end of the episode. What a delightful episode it was. I would love for people at Fake the Nation to be able to follow you on all the wonderful things you do. Gabe, where do they do that?
You can find me on Instagram at GabeBC. That's probably the best place. I return all messages people send me, so come say hi.
Wow, that's that's a commitment
that
you're making.
Yeah,
okay. Ian, where do they find you?
My name is Ian Karmel with a K, Karmel. You can follow me at Ian Karmel on Instagram, Ian Karmel on Blue Sky, and then on YouTube, because I signed up for my YouTube account when I was like 22, and somebody has since squatted on my actual name. IK Cooled You. So you can find me over there on YouTube. Under IK Cooled You. I post some stand-up every now and then. My special is on the 800-Pound Gorillas YouTube page, but if you just search my name, you can find it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And definitely follow Ian, watch his stand-up, which I didn't realize you had a new special. I can't wait to check it out.
Thank you the New York Times and Vulture both gave it extremely good reviews, if that helps convince you to actually watch it. Because I have not been especially funny during this podcast.
New York Times and Vulture. You know what? No, your performance on this very podcast is enough of a review for our listeners to go check it out. And also, don't forget to look at Gabe's Times Square thing that he did. It's on his feed. It's remarkable, and you will see other remarkable things from him, because that's just fucking what he does on the regular. And folks, you know where to find me and all the things that I do. I will be
at the Oxygen Bar? Is that where we're going?
I will be at the Oxygen Bar.
See you there.
Just fucking getting wasted on oxygen. I have shows coming up, but let's worry about those next week when I have them written down on this document. But I do want to thank the people who make this show a possibility. That's our wonderful producer, Andrew McGuire. Thanks to everyone at HeadGum. Thanks to Gaby Alter for our theme music. You can email us at fakethenationpodcast@gmail.com. Folks, I do read all of those emails and respond to them. And when you reach out to me on the social media platforms, I also do that. I try to do that. Sometimes I lose the message and then I can't find it again, and then a thing happens, which is why the Fake the Nation podcast at Gmail is a safer bet for getting in touch with me. I love it when you guys do. I love finding out what topics end up, and it's never the topic you think, end up really scratching people's butts. You know what I mean? So fakethenationpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to support the show at patreon.com/Negin Farsad, but also gumball.fm/fakethenation for your surveys. We would love to know how to make this show a better show for all of you by filling out that survey at gumball.fm/fakethenation. Oh my God, you guys are the best. We'll be back in your earballs next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.